They say the sea is freedom. The pirates disagreed. Because if you were a merchant sailor in the age of sail, the battle didn't always end when the cannons went quiet. What pirates did to captured merchant crews was worse than you imagine. Not because every pirate was a blood-drunk monster, but because piracy was a system, a floating economy, a traveling court, a set of rules, bargains, punishments, and rituals built for one purpose: control people fast, with minimal effort and maximum fear. Welcome back to Wacky History, where the past is real, the people are unhinged, and the good old days are usually a lie. Tonight, we're opening a door that doesn't lead into a castle dungeon. It opens onto wet timber, salt wind, rope burn, and a black flag that turns strong men into quiet prayers. And here's the twist. The worst part wasn't always the violence. It was the waiting, the bargaining, the way pirates could make you choose between bad options until your mind broke itself trying to find a right answer. So if you've ever pictured pirates as a cartoon, parrots, jokes, treasure maps, keep that image if you want. But understand this. Real piracy was closer to psychological warfare with sails. Picture the Atlantic around the early 1700s. The ocean is a highway, and the cargo is the bloodstream of empires. Sugar, rum, tobacco, cloth, gunpowder, coins, letters with seals that decide who gets rich and who gets hanged. And a merchant ship is not a warship. A merchant ship is a floating wallet with thin walls. The crew is underpaid, overworked, and half-starved on hard biscuit and hope. The captain is responsible for cargo that isn't his, owned by men who will never smell the bilge but will absolutely ruin his life on paper. Now you're on watch at dawn. The horizon is pale. The deck is slick. The wind has that steady, innocent sound it always has, like the sea is pretending it doesn't do crimes. Then the lookout's voice cracks. Sail. At first it's just canvas and distance, and your brain tries to calm itself. A ship is a ship. But then you notice the angle, the speed, the way it doesn't drift like a trader. It hunts. Your captain orders more sail. Men haul lines until hands burn. The rigging creaks tighter, like the ship is clenching its jaw. And then comes the moment that drops your stomach through the deckboards. A flag rises. Not a national banner, not a merchant signal, something darker. A skull, an hourglass, a skeleton. Symbols so simple they skip logic and go straight into the animal brain. Dot. Time, death. No mercy. And here's what most people miss. The black flag wasn't just intimidation. It was negotiation. It was pirates offering you a deal with the worst possible terms. Surrender now, and you might live. Resist, and we will make sure you regret it. That's horror number one. A choice that isn't really a choice. Because merchant captains do math while your life hangs on the answer. Can we outrun them? Can we outgun them? Can we bluff? Pirates often pick targets they could take quickly, because battles damage ships, damage cargo, attract navies, and burn precious time. A warning shot cracks across the water. More sound than damage. Another shot, closer. The pirate ship angles in like it's done this 100 times, because it has. Now the boarding. This is where movies usually go straight to chaos. Screaming, blades, panic. But real piracy, especially successful piracy, often moved like a drill. Hooks bite wood, ropes fly, boots hit deck, and instantly the pirates start controlling space. They don't need to kill you to win. They need to make you believe they will if you force them. They shout orders like they belong there. They point pistols at the right men. They seize the helm. They lock down the powder. They find the captain fast. And here's a detail that tells you everything about how organized this could be. Pirates asked questions like auditors. Where's the strong box? Where's the medicine? Who's your navigator? What's in the hold? Because piracy wasn't only robbery. It was a supply chain. A pirate crew needed sails, rope, food, water, powder, shot, tools, carpenters, surgeons, and most of that came from captured ships. Then comes horror number 2, the inventory. People imagine pirates as pure chaos, but pirates loved list. What cargo? How many barrels? How many chests? What's the value? Who owns it? Where was it headed? Who will pay to get it back? And while they inventory the ship, they inventory you. How many crew? Who are the officers? Who can navigate? Who can carpenter? Who can cook? Who can climb? Who can fight? Because sometimes the most valuable cargo isn't sugar or cloth. It's skill. A pirate ship is always bleeding manpower, storms, disease, fights, hangings, desertion. And pirates didn't recruit with job interviews. They recruited with pressure. This is where the captured merchant crew realizes the sea just changed its rules. The pirates aren't only deciding what they'll take, they're deciding what you'll become. Then comes horror number 3, the captain's moment. Pirates often didn't start by hurting the crew. They started by humiliating authority. They bring the captain forward. They make the crew watch. They ask questions that sound polite, but aren't. Did you plan to resist? Did you fire first? Who told you you were safe out here? Because pirates lived on reputation. A pirate's greatest weapon was what sailors believed would happen if they resisted. And now you see how the machine works. If your captain is arrogant, they break him publicly. If he's cowardly, they mock him publicly. If he's brave, they test how expensive his bravery is in human lives. Then they do something truly wicked. They offer the crew a choice against their own captain. Your captain wanted to fight. Your captain risked your lives. Your captain made you suffer. That's not random cruelty. That's division. Once a crew is divided, control is cheap. And then comes horror number 4, the bargaining. Pirates didn't always want to kill. Killing destroys profit. If you want ransom, you need living hostages. If you want information, you need witnesses. If you want fear to spread, you need survivors. So pirates learn to keep people alive just long enough to be useful. They take the ship. They take the cargo. They take the papers. And the papers matter more than most people realize. Manifests, bills, letters, ownership documents, because they tell pirates who will pay, who will panic, and who will beg. Then the pirates decide, sell the cargo, burn the ship, keep the ship, ransom the ship, or strip it and let it drift. And now the crew finally understands the truth. Your life is a line item in someone else's plan. Now we hit the part that makes this worse than you imagine. Captivity. Because captivity at sea isn't like captivity on land. There's nowhere to run. No friendly village over the next hill. No chance to blend into a crowd. Just water. And more water. And the constant reminder that the ocean will punish you even if the pirates don't. Pirates disarm you, watch you, separate you. Sometimes they tie men down, not always to torture, but to make a point. Your body belongs to their schedule. And then comes horror number 5, the uncertainty. If you know you're going to die, your mind adapts. If you don't know, if you might live, might die, might be kept, might be dumped. Your mind never rests. Pirates used that. They didn't need constant violence. They needed selective violence. They made examples. Sometimes it's a beating. Sometimes it's stripping an officer of rank in front of everyone. Sometimes it's forcing a proud man to do a humiliating task while the crew watches. The point isn't the pain. It's inversion. You were somebody on this ship. Now you're nobody. That reversal breaks people faster than gore ever could. And now we need to talk about the myth you've heard 1,000 times. Walking the plank. Did it happen? Sometimes. Was it the norm? Not really. But here's why the myth matters. Pirates understood symbols. A plank is a ritual. A black flag is a ritual. A public punishment is a ritual. Even if the details change, the function stays the same. Control the mind first. And one of the most effective tools pirates had wasn't a sword. It was the story of what happens to crews who resist. That story traveled faster than ships, because surviving sailors carried it into every port like a plague. They boarded us in minutes. They knew exactly where the money was. They made the captain kneel. They chose who lived like they were choosing cargo. And every time that story spread, pirates won future battles before they started. Now add another layer, because this is the part that feels modern in a creepy way. Some pirate crews had articles, rules everyone agreed to, shares of plunder, discipline for thieves inside the crew, sometimes even compensation for injuries. And compared to many merchant ships where captains ruled by whip and mood, piracy could look stable. And pirates used that stability like bait. They'd tell skilled sailors, "Join us and you eat better. Join us and you earn a share. Join us and no officer can ruin you because he woke up angry." But the offer wasn't clean. Refusing could be dangerous. Joining made you complicit. So a captured sailor faced a nightmare of choices: stay loyal and risk punishment. Join and become what you feared. Or play along and pray for an escape. Pirates didn't just steal your cargo, they stole your moral ground. Then comes horror number 6. Punishments designed to outlive the moment. Marooning. Leaving someone on an island sounds simple until you picture it. A strip of sand, a line of trees, the sun cooking your thoughts, the horizon turning into a wall. It's not a clean death. It's a slow unmaking. Exposure, hunger, thirst, panic, and that creeping madness that arrives when you realize no one is coming. Pirates liked marooning because it was efficient. It didn't stain the deck. It didn't risk a fight. It made the ocean the executioner. And the crew that watched it happen would remember forever. That's not just punishment. That's advertising. Now add the hidden money problem. Pirates assumed every merchant ship was lying. Captains hid coin. Officers hid valuables. Sailors hid little personal stashes because everyone knew capture meant loss. So pirates demanded, "Where is it?" And if the answer felt wrong, they escalated, not always with gore, but with humiliation, threats, and selective cruelty. Hurt one man just enough, and suddenly the whole crew becomes honest. That's why this was worse than you imagine. Because pirates didn't need to be monsters to do monstrous things. They just needed to understand incentives. Pain creates information. Fear creates speed. Survival creates cooperation. And once pirates knew your ship's secrets, your leverage vanished. Then comes horror number 7, the hostage economy. Some pirates treated captured crews as currency. A captain might be valuable for ransom. A pilot valuable for navigation. A carpenter valuable for keeping a pirate ship alive. a surgeon valuable enough to be protected. So pirates sorted captives like cargo. You're released. You're kept. You're traded. You're forced to sign something. You're forced to guide them somewhere. And the emotional horror is simple. You stop being a person. You become a tool. Even if you survive as an object inside someone else's plan. Now let's make this real, with 3 portraits the sea remembers. First, the young sailor who joined. He told himself it was temporary, just until land, just until escape. He learned the pirate rules. He learned the pirate jokes. He learned how quickly a man's identity changes when the alternative is starvation. One night, he laughed at something cruel and realized the laugh came naturally. That's how the sea steals your conscience. One small compromise at a time. Second coup, the officer who refused. He kept his spine straight because he believed dignity mattered. The pirates didn't need to kill him to win. They only needed to make him look powerless. They made him watch. They made him wait. They made him understand that a uniform doesn't stop fear. When he finally stepped onto a dock, he was alive. But something in him had been demoted forever. Third, the captain who negotiated. He did the math. He traded cargo for lives. He swallowed humiliation to get his men home. People called him a coward in taverns that smelled like safety. But the sea knows what he did. He chose the only victory available. And he carried the shame, because shame weighs less than coffins. And now, here's the section we're adding. The part most pirate stories skip because it's not as cinematic. But it's exactly what made piracy so terrifying. The aftermath. Because surviving the boarding didn't mean you were safe. Sometimes it just meant you were about to suffer in a quieter way. Picture what released could look like. Pirates strip your ship. Not just gold, but essentials. Sails patched with stolen cloth. Rope cut and taken. Tools gone. Medicine gone. Sometimes even your compass. Because a compass is a future. Then they let you go in a ship that's barely a ship anymore. Your captain stands at the rail staring at the retreating pirate sails, realizing he has to get his men home with half the gear and double the fear. The crew looks at each other differently now. Some blame the captain for surrendering. Some blame him for not surrendering sooner. Some men can't stop replaying the moment a pistol pressed into a cheek, the moment a rope tightened around wrists, the moment the pirates laughed like this was routine. And the ship becomes a floating trauma box. A place where nobody sleeps properly, where every shadow on the horizon looks like a return visit. Even worse, sometimes pirates left you with a gift, a warning written without ink, a crewman beaten just enough to limp, not enough to die, a small humiliation aimed at the captain, a message that says, "Tell the next ship what happens." Because pirates didn't just steal cargo, they manufactured stories. And those stories turned into policy. Merchants paid for escorts. Nations offered bounties. Ports became paranoid. Sailors demanded hazard pay. And every time the economy panicked, pirates got stronger. Because panic makes people predictable. Now bring it back to the big idea. Pirates didn't want to occupy every inch of ocean with force. They wanted your imagination to occupy it for them. They wanted merchant captains to surrender faster next time. They wanted ports to pay protection. They wanted ship owners to reroute trade in fear. They wanted their reputation to do the work while they slept. That's how a relatively small number of pirates could terrify empires. Not by being everywhere, but by making everyone feel like they could be anywhere. So when we say, what pirates did to captured merchant crews was worse than you imagine, the answer isn't one single act. It's the system, the bargaining table built out of fear, the way authority was humiliated so crews would fracture, the way captives were sorted like cargo, the way uncertainty became a weapon more reliable than steel. Pirates didn't just conquer ships. They conquered decision-making. And the sea carried their message farther than any cannon ever could. If you want more of history's darkest strategies, told straight, told responsibly, and told with that wacky history edge, hit subscribe. Because the past isn't just what happened. It's why people stopped resisting. And out on the ocean, under a black flag, that answer was written in silence, rope, and the sound of boots crossing your deck.